speed high priestess, scales of justice balanced on a mempool express. Next bottleneck.
To join us today, my name is Evin McMullen, co-founder of Privado ID, and I am so pleased to be here with Tom of Base to discuss what it means to scale the Ethereum ecosystem in practice. Tom, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling really great. Great builder energy so far this week, and excited to share more about what we're doing on Base and Ethereum.
Exceptional. So let's get started and look a little bit at the horizon line. Obviously, by the fact that you are here today, you understand some of the challenges and opportunities with bringing everyone on chain. But Tom, what does that future vision look like?
Starting Base, our vision has been 1 billion people and 1 million builders on chain. We really feel passionate that the on-chain technology can solve problems in ways that are just now becoming possible, that are actually going to be better for humanity in a way that is very unique. And so that's been our vision for Base, and that's what we're trying to do on top of Ethereum.
Awesome. So what is the role of Base in this ecosystem when it comes to builders? We're going to talk a little bit more about tangibly what that means, but as far as builder culture goes, what does Base bring to the table?
Well, our vision for scaling, very important, is to have transactions be sub-second, sub-cent. In current year, 2025, when users take an action on a website, on an app, they expect an instant response. And that's very important. So blockchain has a lot of great properties around the censorship resistance, the permissionless nature of them, but the vision to scale Ethereum is through layer 2 rollups. And that's what we're doing here in trying to make it super fast and performant for users to use the chain.
So I definitely think we would all agree with you on that front, but let's get a little bit into the edges. What are your 2 cents on building on Base versus elsewhere in the ecosystem, and what would you say to your critics?
Well, I think the reality is we're still very early in the arc of on-chain. I kind of liken this maybe to the early mid-90s of the web, or you could use a railroad metaphor if you want. We're focused on growing the pie for everybody, and we think there's plenty of room for different smart contracting platforms, different approaches to blockchains. We feel passionate that EVM is the best smart contract platform and the best way to bring the world on chain that offers the most expressivity for builders, great building blocks, and certainly the money Lego-ness of the EVM, where I can write a smart contract or even just an app that talks to different apps in smart contracts. Very powerful building blocks, the way it all fits together.
So you mentioned a little bit earlier about the importance of user experience and using apps that we actually enjoy interacting with. Quick vibe check with our audience. How many of you have ever sent a transaction and while you waited, you started to sweat a little? And the seconds start to go by. Oh yeah, all right, so it sounds like we can all relate to that experience. So let's talk about speed, maybe to start. Where are we today in terms of the speed of performance, and that translates into us all sweating while our transactions go through? And how are you and the Base team working to scale Ethereum to make those transactions faster?
So today, Ethereum L1 block production time is 12 seconds. On Base, our block production time is 2 seconds. And that's pretty good. But again, as I said, users really expect a near instant response when they're taking actions and to understand what just happened. That idea of feedback. It's very important from a user experience standpoint. So I'm excited to announce today that in collaboration with Flashbots, Base is going live with Flash blocks for 200 millisecond effective block times.
Wow. I definitely hear a lot of claps out there in the audience from people who are feeling a little less stressed, a little more peace of mind in terms of not only what that means for the experiences they can deliver, but also the experiences that we ourselves can enjoy. So let's get into practical realities of this absolute blast to our block times. What does this mean for builders? What can we do now? Is this a huge leap forward? Is this an incremental improvement? I know for me, that certainly feels like a lot less stress and a lot closer of an experience to what I'm used to, but let's get into the tangible outcomes of this announcement.
Yeah, totally. So 200 millisecond effective block times live on Base Sepolia testnet today. You can go experiment with that and think about what it means for a user. So that's 10 times faster than the experience today. So if I'm making a trade, I get that pre-confirmation very quickly that the trade has gone through, or payments. I think sometimes the killer use case for crypto and on-chain that we might forget about a payment going through in 200 milliseconds is a lot snappier user experience than 2 seconds. And so I'm excited for builders to do things from finance and trading to payments and stable coins. Certainly gaming is a compelling use case for faster, effective block times as well. And really anything you can do today, doing it 10 times faster is going to enable builders to offer a better end user experience.
That sounds exceptional. And in a world where we lose 50% of users at every click and turn through the process, this type of faster response time definitely seems like a way to keep me in your app, for sure, a little bit longer than I would be otherwise. So now that we've started thinking about our experience in these applications, obviously, the app layer offers a lot that can be improved in terms of UX, but what's under the hood is pretty fragmented. It's getting pretty weird out there on chain. So let's talk about simplicity. What does 10x better mean in terms of simplicity when it comes to the base practice?
Yeah, so one of the things that we've invested heavily in is 4337 in the account abstraction standard. A big part of how Base wants to build is on open source, open standards, open markets, and what we need to do is simplify the user experience and the wallet experience. So, over the past year or two, we've really seen the rise in strong PMF of embedded app wallets. They present a great onboarding experience, really snappy user experience, like pop-up free experiences, but they can have some downsides. Wallet proliferation, such that you have a lot of different wallets, like further asset fragmentation, not just at the chain level, and a million assets, but now you have a number of wallets and apps that are kind of ephemeral, and where are those exactly? So what we're trying to do is really unify this with our smart wallet, which we announced last ETHDenver 2024, and bring the best of both worlds. So on the front of making things simpler for users, I'm excited to announce that smart wallets is going live with sub-accounts. So this is a new building block that will essentially enable you to have pop-up free transactions for your users, simplified user experience, and an app account, or maybe an agent account, really all kinds of accounts that will have the ability to be owned by a universal account. They can have spend limits set back to the universal account and really get the best of both worlds, from this smart wallet vision to the embedded sub-accounts themselves.
This also sounds like it is a potential service to improve security. I certainly know that with my many keys and wallets scattered across the ecosystem, there are a lot of potential risk surfaces that we quite frankly don't have best practices to address. What should that mean for builders as they're thinking about security and this new sub-account structure?
Yeah, security should always be treated as a first-class citizen. We're pretty keen on passkeys as the future. We see Apple, Samsung, Google, all the big Web 2 players heavily leaning into passkeys. I can tell you my crypto skeptic or crypto unaware friends have actually started to talk or heard of passkeys. So if you think of this as the future of securing your account, we want to make sure that we can build towards that future with a universal account that's passkey secured first and foremost, while still meeting users where they are globally in developing markets where those might not be as well supported. But security is front of mind as we're building these things, and our spend limit, spend permissions feature is a great way that builders can offer fine-grained control to their end users for how much they want to allow one of these sub-accounts to spend.
So it's definitely been evident to me over the few days that we've been here in Denver thus far that the builder energy is off the charts. That the ability to actually execute on experiences like the ones that we already know and love in Web 2 is just at the edge of our fingertips. But of course, it means one thing to experiment at small scale here in a hackathon environment. It means entirely another to prepare for the public and for consumer experiences that will hold their mettle against any other digital space where we might spend time not just on chain. So as we think about these exciting updates and announcements, a third word comes to mind. In addition, let's talk about what powerful means to improving the base practice and bringing more capabilities to builders. Let's talk a little bit more about what this word means in your practice right now.
Yeah, totally. So, one of the things that we see, the Paymaster, which Base builds in collaboration with Coinbase Developer Platform, is a great way to sponsor gas on behalf of your end users. So if you think about gas credits, gas abstraction, for those of us that have been on chain for a while, it makes a lot of sense. For those of us just coming on chain, it can be kind of confusing. You've gone through this wallet setup flow, and then you need to put in money before you transact. So we're seeing a lot of great traction with the Paymaster in terms of sponsoring gas on behalf of users, and even using custom ERC20 assets to pay gas if you'd like. But that can also get expensive. So we see some apps that are having so much block space consumed by the users using their game or app at scale every month, they're spending well into the six figures for gas credits for their users. So, a great scaling technology is actually the L3 app chain. So I am excited to announce today that in collaboration with CDP, we're going live with Base App Chains, which is a layer 3 chain launcher for builders that have reached that scale that's necessary for it.
All right, so we got chains for days, we got better experiences for users, and certainly a lot of new tools for builders. I see we might have a little flexibility to delve into what this layer 3 network capability really means. And maybe we could step back for a quick second. Can you tell us a little bit about how we should think of the difference between layer 2s and layer 3s, and maybe what are some use cases where we should reach for one and not the other? Because obviously in this world of a million chains, we've got to start forming opinions over what this means.
Yeah, for sure. So any app just getting started, layer 2 block space on Base mainnet is a great place to start. It's, fast, cheap, affordable, well connected to all the money Legos that are live on Base today and the $12 billion plus of assets on platform. As your app reaches a certain scale, an app chain might be right for you. And so some of the things that it offers is the ability to, get a different DA solution, other types of customization like a custom gas token or permissioned allow lists for the types of contracts that can make calls. There's a lot of customization that can be done at the fee level, and we're seeing some great innovation in some of our early partners that are thinking about how we do this.
That sounds like a really incredible new set of capabilities, and certainly less frustrating for those teams that are dropping six figures on gas subsidies. That is both evidence of excellent traction and also an invitation for more efficiency for sure.
Yeah, totally. And verticals that this makes a lot of sense for is definitely gaming. We see gaming chains or apps at scale taking up a ton of block space. Certainly scaled payment and financial use cases. DPIN is a big one where there could be very high compute or data requirements that an app chain might be relevant. But a natural path, like I mentioned, would be, using a paymaster, whether it's CDP's paymaster or another one that's out there, getting into that gas sponsorship and then seeing the type of gas units that are consumed and then considering if app chain is right for you with that layer 3 scaling solution.
So we've dropped a crazy amount of alpha here thus far. I'm sure our audience is keeping up with us in terms of these new tools and capabilities, but I think they might be ready for the next step. Tom, do we think these builders are ready?
They look pretty ready. I mean, everybody looks pretty well caffeinated after. We've got a good audience out here, and if I think about open source, open standards, open markets again, really getting community contributions and giving community contributions. So 4844, our contributions with blobs and PeerDAS, also now, this type of thing, or 4337, everything we've done. We have a new GitHub organization at Base where we'd love for people to come and contribute their open source code to what we're working on. And we know there's a lot of great builders in the audience today, so we'd actually like to call out, we're going to do a builder side quest. Now, I'm sure a lot of you might be building in the ETHDenver official build-a-thon, or I'm sure many of you are building your own app. What we're going to do, what you think they're ready, Evin? I feel like they're ready.
I think we've gotten appropriate energy from this audience, and they've been pretty good about the alpha we've had thus far. So, friends, DGens, your side quest, your builder side quest, should you choose to accept it. Tom?
All right, so for the next 24 hours, we're going to have a side quest where builders, we basically want you to build on top of Flash Blocks RPC on Base Sepolia to show us how fast it is. So we've got the RPC that's returning 2-second full blocks. Then we've got one that's returning 200 millisecond flash blocks. And what, your most creative, your most clear, your most compelling, mobile-friendly web page that shows this speed difference. And if you'd like, you could even maybe let the user submit a transaction, see how fast it lands in a flash block. We're going to be closing submissions at 2 p.m. tomorrow. And then myself, some folks from the Base Chain team, Evin, Base DevRel, and some members of the Flashbots team are going to be judging submissions, and we'll have free pizza and the winners announced at 3 p.m. tomorrow at home Base booth. So if this sounds interesting to you, go to base.dev/flash for more information. Come find me. I'm going to tweet it out. Base and the Build on Base handles will have more info. But we think this will be a fun time for seeing what the community can contribute. And please make it open source if you do. That will be bonus points in the eyes of the judges.
Excellent. So it sounds like we've got faster block times and even faster hackathons and builder side quests available here. But Tom, as we wrap up and and think about our next steps here, Can you share a little taste of that base builder advice and guidance for how our audience members should approach the rest of this week, especially in mind of these new superpowers?
Well, yeah, totally. So I think one piece of advice that I do like to give builders is whatever you're building, go and take the latest build of it and show it to a friend, a colleague, maybe your partner, maybe a stranger, and just say, hey, go do X, give them a task, and then zip your mouth closed and observe them use your app. I think we're all so much closer to our apps and our products than we think or than other people are, and sometimes it can be hard to have empathy for them. So this is a nice evaluative user test. Just show them your app, see what happens. I guarantee you'll notice at least one thing that you could make more simple and clear about your app. So do that. Come find me or somebody from the base team tomorrow or anytime at home base booth and tell us what you learned. Tell us how you improved your app and made it more usable for regular people to come on chain and experience the value of your app.
Excellent. And just as a quick reminder, I'm sure we were all hanging on Tom's every word, but by 2 o'clock tomorrow, we look forward to your submissions. Help us see and feel the difference between insanely fast block times versus the on-chain world where we live today. And we look forward to learning from all of you how these new on-chain superpowers impact your community, your applications, and your ecosystem. So thank you guys again so much for being an excellent audience today. Big appreciation to ETHDenver for hosting us, and we will see you on chain.
Thanks so much, Evin. This is a lot of fun. See y'all on chain.